Dear Reddit people, what is a good healthy hobby to start for someone with depression? I'm not depressed, but I do have pretty awful anxiety. I've found that knitting really helps. Particularly because if you don't concentrate on what you're doing, you'll probably frick it up. So you can't let your mind wander, which stops me dwelling on crap that makes me feel bad. In a sense, knitting is meditative for me. Plus, once you get even semi-good at it, people will think you're some kind of wizard. My wife suffers from depression, and one of the things we do to help her when she's in a funk is jigsaw puzzles. It takes her mind off of things because she is focusing on finding the right pieces and feels really accomplished as we figure out more of the puzzle. Not depressed, but seconding that jigsaw puzzles are a great way to take your mind off the world. They are usually easy to find and buy, they require nothing but a flat hard surface, and they are a great time killer. I usually listen to podcasts while working on them as well. Shout out to our jigsaw puzzles as well. Cycling. I rented a bike in Vancouver's Stanley Park and brought back a lot of memories as a kid cycling. It gets you out and exercise always helps with depression. Can confirm. Currently depressed but purchased a bike a few weeks ago. Exploring on my bike leaves me feeling accomplished and motivated to do other things. Hiking. Being in nature relaxes your brain, unless you're in Australia, and it's not result oriented. When I was dealing with depression and practicing guitar, I'd usually end up more frustrated by my lack of apparent progress. On the one hand, I fought through it and ended up pretty decent, but a lot of the time I'd get too frustrated and just walk out of the house and into the woods. Eventually I realized how relaxing that was and I'd just start there. And at the end, I wouldn't be saying to myself, you spent 6 hours on this and your Travis picking is still atrocious. I'd be thinking about all the cool stuff I saw in the woods. Bonus. You don't even have to build up motivation to do something because it feels at first like you're running away from your problems, but you're actually tricking your depression into giving you a relaxed way to work through it. Suck on that, depression. Oh, and birdwatching is a great hobby to pick up in parallel. Good luck. I got my wife a paint by numbers kit which she does to take her mind off depression. Cooking really helped me. It's easy to do great things and the compliments people give you can be a real booster. Photography. It forced me to find beauty. I also used it to force myself to interact with people through a project where I asked people if I could take their picture and requested basic biographical information. Finally getting an image right, really right, and having people like it is pretty rewarding. Really good suggestion. It lets me focus on my surroundings and makes me relax. Morning walks, they worked wonders for me. Healthy and gave me time to think. Origami. It is inexpensive. All you need is paper. Appropriate for heaps of different skill levels and there are tons of tutorials online to keep you busy. Oh, and you can get an origami calendar and fold a new thing each day. I had one a few years back and it was very calming and enjoyable. Hey friend, as somebody currently taking the steps to work myself out of depression, maybe I could help with some tips. I started by walking my dog a different path. If you don't have a dog, just walk. Explore your neighborhood. If you can't muster up the energy, that's okay, don't beat yourself up about it. God knows some days I lay there all day trying to muster up the energy before deciding that it was too late. Do it the next day. Try to stop to smell the roses, as in, don't walk just to walk. Look around, listen to the birds, listen to how the wind blows through the trees and practice mindfulness. I always hated cooking too, but I found, and this might just be me, that the reason is I was cooking up some boring meals. Start doing something basic and interesting. I started making banana bread just to give to friends and family, and that's a good feeling. Start looking at interesting foods you can make yourself too. I also decided to work on my diet and exercise, but this time around I made it my aim to really nail how my psyche works so I can work around it. It's a difficult thing, but I found that waking up super early, 5:30 AM, and going straight to the gym is best for me. I walk fast pace on a treadmill and 2x 3 minutes jogging, just at this stage, then do some weight training. When you're done, it's early and you're up and energized. Don't nap, have breakfast, a shower, and then do something that interests you. I've also started Zentangles, which are great for mindfulness. You don't need any drawing experience to make something that looks great, and there's something very therapeutic about creating such an intricate image that takes so long. I'm at the beginning of my journey, and it is difficult, but it seems to be improving. Do not be discouraged if you didn't achieve something. Don't let the bully inside your head put you down. Just pick it back up tomorrow. Climbing. Like, climbing walls at gyms are awesome. You feel accomplished and exercised both mentally and physically. I started an aquarium and collecting tropical fish, little by little. It's a fascinating hobby, and fun to watch at night with the tank lights on and all the colors of the fish glowing. While recovering from depression, I've taken up hand sewing. The monotonous and lack of thinking that goes into it really relaxes me. Plus, I usually make plushies for my boyfriend, so I get great joy out of knowing how much he will love it. Even better, it keeps me from constantly being on the computer, something I did to extreme while depressed. Cross stitch. It's really easy to do, especially if you like older games, like NES or SNES stuff. You can get started for like less than $20, and when you do, you can pick it up and put it down as you feel like you need. Depending on how you like your exercise, either weightlifting or running. Here's a sub that could be supportive and helpful. RED. Exercise out of depression. If you own any instrument, play it. I enjoy calm and relaxing music, so I picked up piano. If you have no idea how to play the instrument of choice, you can look up some tutorials on YouTube. This has helped me a lot through a period of time where I've been feeling down. Growing a small plant, if your climate is agreeable or you have the means to grow indoor plants, can help on two fronts. The tiny commitment to your plant, making sure it gets enough sun and water, helps you form some healthy habits, which definitely helps combat depression. Some research also suggests that having more natural greenery around helps improve mood and productivity. I find that this totally helps. I used to think growing plants was boring, but then I found some nurseries that sold really weird looking things and I got hooked. Having a plant is like having a pet that doesn't suffer if you neglect it. You get the nurturing experience of caring something, but if you have a bad period when you lose motivation, it's not like you've starved your dog. Art of any description. Seriously, drawing and painting can be so therapeutic. Just don't heap pressure on yourself to make your drawings look accurate. Just enjoy the process and the rest follows, if you ever need it to. I also find reading books about art or history to be very absorbing. Board games. Play with friends, family, and or become that guy who love board games. Join a club. Board games are awesome. I just have no friends to play them with. Start every day with some food even if you don't feel like eating. Protein especially. Eggs are fairly easy. Hard boil them the night before maybe. I like to make scrambled eggs mixed with mushrooms and spinach. I track terrorists on Twitter for fun. No, seriously, this helped me through some difficult spots in my life. So random, LMAO, but that's cool it helped you. Listening to audiobooks and going on long walks does it for me. I'm currently listening to the Worm audiobook project based on the web serial Worm, one of the best stories I have ever read in my opinion. It's a super long audiobook, work in progress though, and the story itself is longer than the entire word count of Harry Potter plus an extra Order of the Phoenix. I've begun to rant a little about Worm, but that's only because the story is so good and it's helped me get out of a seriously depressive rut in my life lately. I am fortunate enough to live near nice forests to walk through, and I think the walking is a big part of my little self-treatment. Something with animals. When you are contributing to the happiness of another who asks very little of you, with who the relationship is very simple and enjoyable, it's an awesome tool for pulling you out of depression, even if just in small bursts. Along with the usual suggestions, depending on your living situation, you could consider chickens. Showing and breeding is incredibly fun, plus you get eggs. Reptiles. Learning care and buying the setup are big steps, but reptiles are awesome bros. Generally docile, friendly, affectionate and quirky. Fish, perhaps something big like an Oscar. They aren't particularly demanding, cheap to keep and surprisingly fun to have. Insects, the ultimate quiet, laid-back pet. Things like stick insects or beetles are fascinating to watch. This is the reason I haven't thought of killing myself. I have 2 better in 5-gallon tanks and a leopard gecko. No one else in my family takes care of them except for me. I'll admit reptiles aren't that cuddly, but they're still great. I make obstacle courses for my Leo and add a treat at the end. She seems to like it. When I was depressed, I used to go on long walks. Walks for hours and hours at a time. People have said this already, but once you get over the initial lack of confidence period, exercise does absolute wonders for your mental health. Changing my lifestyle and incorporating exercise and a good diet has been the only thing that dragged me out of wanting to kill myself. I still have down days, but nothing close to that level since I started working out. Drawing or adult coloring books, really relaxing and focusing. Not quite sure if it counts as a hobby, but caring for a pet. Now obviously, you should only get a pet if it makes sense as far as your work schedule, level of commitment, etc. But getting a pet can make a dramatic difference in your life. It's basically like bringing home a new best friend that's always there for you. Hey there, I take long walks while listening to audiobooks. I've hit a slump after paying off my student loans and then getting a decent job, and I got to the point to where I didn't have a concrete goal to wake up to, and every day I was like, so what now? Treat yourself to some decent headphones if you can, and just get lost with your thoughts while soaking in the pretty stuff. From my personal experience, as I do suffer from depression and anxiety at the same time, FML, I can say that every suggestion here works. Doing anything works. The problem is getting yourself to actually start doing it. What helped me is when I got a new phone and got back to geocaching and Ingress. If you're at least a little bit geeky, it gives you a reason to go out and walk around. It also takes you to very interesting places. And personally, I kinda got allergic to blue color. So sometimes I actually get off of the bus to walk for 20 minutes and bringing the area to the green side. Especially if you are competitive. Good thing is that the game changes every few minutes, so it doesn't get boring over time. Honestly, something that really helped me was watching movies, shows, and playing video games. I understand the negative outlook on playing games all day, but if you are a person who does not want to leave your bed, even the small joy you get from playing Fallout 3 could be enough to get you out of bed. Heck, if you can play an online game, you might even meet some friends. That's a start for human contact, and you can feel safe within your house, without the social fears you may or may not have. Movies or shows can give you that small laugh or grin after an action scene. You might not move around much that day, but you laughed at Bill Murray in Moonrise Kingdom. Instead of crying, or going to sleep to avoid feeling alive, you could enjoy something even if only for a small time. Just take baby steps. I scrolled down this thread quite a ways. I've seen cycling, rock climbing, scuba diving, jogging, animal therapy. As someone who suffers from deep depression and anxiety, I know a little about it. And when I'm wide awake at night and the anxiety is overwhelming, and the depression is like a 100-pound weight on my chest, not sure how rock climbing would help me. What does help me, and has probably literally saved my life? Gaming. Ready to go anytime. From deep emotional stories filled with drama, humor, romance, political intrigue, plot twists, and cliffhangers. Not to mention you get to be the baddest ladies man you've always wanted to be. Plus it's just fun running around blowing crap up and generally saving the day. You like shooters, RPGs, action adventure, puzzles, whatever. There are games for you. Lots of them. I like knitting. It's repetitive and relaxing, plus you can end up with some pretty sweet scarves. Scarves are really simple to knit and there are plenty of YouTube videos you can watch. Drawing. All you need is a pen, a piece of paper and no eraser. Just let it flow. Martial arts. Don't go to a franchise place or pay for belt place. Find somewhere authentic. Dojos are often very family-like and filled with very supportive people. It releases endorphins like any other exercise and it's very social. Dance classes can be much the same way. You have been visited by the romantic doggo. Comment love is magic so you never fall in the friend zone. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.